Hello, Uta Hagen here of Trans Widow Uta Hagen YouTube channel. I wanted to do a quick video to show you my actually last immortality iris. Isn't that something? I just cut it. It's got to be the last one. And my last two roses of my favorite lark rising, um, lark ascending. That's what they're called. Okay, I'm going to share the screen with immortality here. Okay, I was going to devote myself to my outside work today. However, a few things have happened. Number one, Megyn Kelly had a somewhat civil discussion regarding, in quotes, trans kids with representative from California, Ro Khanna. And she did a pretty good job of mentioning all of the iatrogenic harm. And she played a clip of Chloe Cole. And of course, Ro Khanna made this hypocritical apology to Chloe Cole for everything she's gone through. And the one suggestion that I would have for Megyn Kelly is that have your staffers make a list of all of the lawsuits. There are several in Texas. There are others who are suing Kaiser Permanente, and the thing is, the detransitioners also talk about how they feel they've lost years from their lives. And the other thing that happened was Colin Wright's Substack, Reality's Last Stand, which I will put the name and link in the notes. You have to be a paid subscriber to comment, which I am, just for the sole purpose of advertising us here and giving education to those who think that when someone cross-dresses and merely steps into the ladies' room to pee, that they are doing no harm to anyone. And they just think that me and my 63 other trans widows in the Uta Hagen data are we're these lone anomalies who are cranky. But what we're actually doing is we are demonstrating that this is a sexual fetish, usually fueled by some pretty sketchy pornography that is luring both teen boys and teen girls into a very, very sad life. Now, Michael Bailey, in his article on Reality's Last Stand, in which for some reason he's playing a pissing contest with therapist Joe Burgo about the fact that Joe Burgo is an MSW therapist or something like this, and Bailey is a PhD professor. Forgive me, Joe Burgo, if you are actually a PhD. It didn't seem to me you were using doctor. And it was about how do we treat autogynephilia, what do we think about it, all this kind of stuff. And boom, Bailey says he doesn't want these kids to have rapid onset gender dysphoria, but boom, he's saying someone with autogynephilia, that is a male who is turned on by the thought of himself being sexually aroused as a woman, which is impossible for him to have any idea what he is thinking or feeling, because a male has male genitalia with male arousal feelings and phenomena, and he cannot feel female arousal. So they have a very large target error. Blanchard, Bailey, Cantor, and Zucker. This is what I wrote. And there was someone, thank you. I'm not really familiar with your blog, but there was someone who posted the graphic for this Michael Bailey thing. I'm getting a little overexcited here. This Michael Bailey article. The graphic was a therapist and his a male therapist and his male patient sitting across from each other, but the male patient has on red kitten boots, and that's how you know that he's a cross-dresser. I thought that was a rather clever graphic. And so, Bailey is suggesting going on to some kind of completely unreliable websites like Reddit and gathering supposedly statistically significant information. I'm at this point where I am reaching statistical significance by his standards because I am communicating individually with each of these women about their experiences. All right, this is my response. I write this to ask if Professor Bailey is aware that Sam K detransitioned and is no longer Maya. This son of a transitioner was used long ago by you and Blanchard and Cantor as a case study for the theorized father-to-son link. Sam, the son, had all the surgeries 25 years ago, now tells the world how much he regrets them on his YouTube channel, Call Me Sam, in which Sam is nice enough to give us the Scottish Highlands as a backdrop. Bob Withers, a Jungian therapist in the UK, mentioned your citation, meaning Bailey and Blanchard and Cantor's citation of then Maya, now back to Sam K, in your research literature. The father-son dyads in this social contagion clearly do not represent a genetic or biological link, and the contagion in families now demonstrates just how this cult appeals and grooms towards dangerous medical treatments. The pornography link, unlike the father-to-son link, is clear in AGP behavior. For some reason, Michael Bailey doesn't mention the pornography, but Joe Burgo does in his writing. I say the pornography link, unlike the father-son link, is clear in AGP behavior based on the information from wives below. So just keep on listening. The information on wives comes on just a little bit farther out. You can tell I'm overexcited. The recent but small growing waves of deaths from sepsis and kidney failure attest to the iatrogenic harm of treatments the Blanchard protocol culminated in, now completely collapsed to months or even weeks from the original 2 years. For example, Griffin Sivert, natal female 24, sepsis. Liam Johns, natal female 35, kidney failure. Yarden Seviera, natal male 24, sepsis, then suicide. These surgeries were at lauded institutions, Boston Children's Hospital, Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan. Liver cancer is cited also recently in a Mayo Clinic study. As the wife of an AGP who says he's true trans, that's me, and also says he's me, the mother of our 2 sons, Nettie says, I'd like you, Michael Bailey, together with Cantor, Blanchard, and Zucker, to put out a statement that you now have some idea of the trauma caused by these men to the women they married and the children they fathered, by behavior actually sanctioned by therapists. You've never commissioned an independent parallel study of us, despite Ray Blanchard's famous quote, "Oh, the women don't like it." These men do not self-report their domestic violence, coercive control, and sexual demands in their therapy sessions with your colleagues in the field being sexology. I collect the only data in the world on trans widows, and my results include 64 of us. A steady third were sexually assaulted by lingerie-wearing husbands. These men often had serious alcohol abuse issues. Also, a steady third of us were physically assaulted, as in strangulation, being shoved into the wall, being pushed down the stairs, or held in a vice-like hold until involuntary urination occurred. In the case of the 5 rapes, 3 of repeated rapes by him, AGP husband, none were prosecuted, though 1 brutal rape was reported to the Met Police in London, and DNA evidence and witness statements were collected. The Met Police came back to the trans widow and said, "We don't have enough evidence to prosecute." If that man had not been wearing women's lingerie when the police arrived, he would have been charged with rape. The evidence was all there. We typically cannot use our given names when we tell our experiences, as husband still threatens defamation, violence in some cases, and cancellation by his friends and allies frequently. The new documentary on us, Behind the Looking Glass at Lime Soda Films, by cancelled auteur Vaishnavi Sundar, further proves my allegations here. You need to watch it, Michael Bailey. The above rates of violence, ritual manipulation, and coercive control are evident in the testimonies of the 18 of us in Behind the Looking Glass. In my data, there are many women who stayed for 2 or 5 or 10 years. And they covered up the violence they experienced while staying, often not speaking of it until years after getting out. Bailey, I want a reply.